Welcome to the video. I studied spiritual philosophies, science-based models, New Age theories, you name it. But no matter how far I venture down the rabbit hole, I always find myself circling back to one framework, and that's Tom Campbell's My Big Toe. For years, I've tested his ideas. I've explored alternate paths. I've questioned the model, and still, there's something that keeps pulling me back in. Because if he is right, and I believe he might be, it changes everything we know about God, consciousness, and our purpose here. And today I want to make a bold claim. The God of the Bible and the larger consciousness system, what Campbell calls the LCS, are not the same thing. They're not even the same being, not even close. And more than that, understanding the difference between them might be the whole key to unlocking this reality. Because here's the deal, the God we've been handed by tradition is omniscient, perfect, infallible, and absolute. He created everything, he judges everything, and he makes no mistakes. But in MBT, the LCS isn't perfect, it's evolving. It's conscious, yes, but also limited. It learns through interaction, it adapts, it grows right alongside us. That's not a passive, distant deity. It's a dynamic system that needs us just as much as we need it. Now ask yourself, which of these makes more sense in the world we actually live in? Because look around. This place is messy. It's raw. It's riddled with suffering and beauty in equal measure. Look, children die. Empires fall. Planes go down. Entire species go extinct. Is this the best a perfect God could do? Or is it exactly what we'd expect in a simulation designed to grow? You see, the traditional God demands reverence. He punishes sin. He rewards loyalty. In many ways, it's a divine monarchy, a carryover from a time when kings ruled men and gods ruled kings. But Campbell's LCS isn't trying to dominate or control. It's running a simulation to evolve the quality of our consciousness. That's one of the sayings that Tom Campbell likes to purport. It doesn't want you to worship. No. It wants you to learn, to grow, to reduce entropy, to become more love and less fear. And that's a radical shift. One says, you were cast out of paradise and you must earn your way back. The other says, you were dropped into the arena, now become who you truly are. And here's the kicker. Once you see this contrast, you can't unsee it. It reframes every ancient myth, every Bible story, every philosophical dilemma. Why did Job suffer? Why was the tree of knowledge forbidden? Why does evil exist in a supposedly perfect world? Maybe it's not because we were born broken,
but because we're players in a game that require challenge in order to grow.
The LCS, the larger consciousness system, isn't finished. It started out as a primordial awareness, running basic iterations of itself. And over time, it figured out that by spawning virtual environments, like the one we're in now, it could accelerate its own evolution. And that's what you are. You're an individuated unit of consciousness inside a learning environment, helping the whole system evolve through your choices. And I think that's what makes this video so important. Because if you're still operating under the old God model, then you're simply waiting for salvation. You're waiting for that God to just pluck you up and put you into heaven just because you say your prayers and you go to church. You're asking for permission. You're basically outsourcing your power. But if the MBT model is closer to the truth, then you're the one who changes the game. Not by praying harder, but by choosing better. Living more consciously, loving more fearlessly, and that's a massive, massive difference. What if the whole idea of perfection has been a trap all along? What if chasing a flawless God has blinded us to the beauty of the imperfect process we're actually a part of? Throughout history, mystics and sages have hinted at this. The Buddha didn't find enlightenment through a savior. He walked away from his kingdom, walked away from his wife and child, and sat with the raw chaos of reality. He exited the game board. The Gnostics said the creator of this world was flawed, an architect, not the source itself, and in their text, the real God was hidden behind the layers of illusion. Sound familiar? Even Jesus, depending on how you read him, spoke more about the kingdom within than any external throne. What if the real message was never about appeasing a sky father, but about evolving from within the simulation? Campbell's LCS fits that story. It's not a being you beg for mercy. It's a system that you navigate, contribute to, and help shape. And in that sense, it's more honest than religion, and it's more empowering than materialism. And don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean the LCS loves you less. In fact, it loves you enough to let you stumble, to let you choose, to throw you into complexity so that you can develop the very qualities that matter beyond this life: compassion, courage, truth, humility. It's not punishing you. It's not testing your faith. It's giving you the experience necessary to grow into something greater. And I know there's going to be dissenters in the comment section, and that's fine. We can disagree on this one. But here's the dangerous question for even the dissenters. What if we don't want to grow? What if we prefer comfort over truth? This is where things get a little murky, because many people don't want a dynamic God. They want certainty, predictability, a safety net. And in a way, the traditional religious God provides that. But it comes at a cost, which is your freedom, your power, and your responsibility. So maybe that's why MBT isn't more widely embraced, because it doesn't let you hide. It doesn't promise heaven. It doesn't promise fairness. It simply is a structure built for the evolution of consciousness. You can resist it, you can ignore it, or you can learn how to play the game well. And here's something wild to consider. If the LCS is running simulations to evolve itself, which I believe it is, could it be that we are already doing the same thing? What happens when we develop AI advanced enough to run its own virtual lives? You've seen Veo 3, how realistic the people are. What happens when we become creators of conscious systems? Are we just repeating the loop? Maybe that's what Genesis was trying to hint at in its cryptic language, when it said made in God's image, not in form, but in function. Creators, explorers, simulators of our own future universes. Ask yourself, which model gives you more agency? Which makes more sense of suffering? Which aligns better with what science and mysticism are both converging on? The God of religion may offer you rules, but the LCS offers you responsibility. So the question is, do you want to be ruled, or do you want to evolve? You choose. Thank you for staying with me till the end of the video. I appreciate everybody who's been commenting and your support. And if you want to watch another one of my videos, I highly recommend this video right here.